one of those things that it's important to do because it goes back to the quality of life and quality of place. So we're going to continue to make those investments as we move forward.
Mr. Sackman, 90 seconds.
A pedestrian-friendly city is so much more than just trails and walking. All right, we're talking about a lot of folks who have to use sidewalks to walk to and from work or to bike to and from work. Yes, the casino revenue will help, but there's been several major pieces of legislation passed at the federal level that you can apply for funds. However, currently 4 out of 5 Hoosier communities do not have the staff needed to apply for sustainability grants that target different mixtures of concrete that retain less heat. And I thought, well, that's crazy. How does concrete go into sidewalks? But these are the types of projects that can be used to offset some of the many costs previously mentioned by the mayor and myself earlier in this debate. We need to look at our city redevelopment staff, and we need to look at the city engineering department to reach out, get creative, and hire a full-time grant writer to chase some of these many opportunities. Yes, incoming casino revenue will help. We've got several TIF districts in town, really with a lot of cash in the bank right now. Every time they spend money, it reduces how much we have to spend out of the general fund.
Mr. Bennett, would you like a rebuttal?
Well, yeah, going back to the grants, 20% of people who apply for grants don't get them every year. Hiring somebody just to chase grants, that was something I thought about many years ago, and it's like, I can't justify paying somebody to only going to be successful with maybe 1 or 2 grants a year, because that's kind of what you end up getting. We have about 6 people that we've hired that work for us, a lot less expensive than hiring a staff person that have expertise to do this. And we're going to continue to invest in those resources to give us the biggest bang for the buck.
Mr. Sackman.
Yes, come on here. There's a myriad of ways that we can use to chase grants. Some cities offer them a very low base salary and they get an incentive based off of performance. Folks, it's pay to play. We've got to pay to play. I mean, we have to have a grant coordinator to quarterback maybe those 6 who are chasing grants and how we're implementing and spending them. It's a fact. Other communities are passing us by when it comes to grants.
Let's move on to the next question, gentlemen, if you don't mind. The new casino could help make Terre Haute a destination. Gaming and conventions, of course, will draw people to this area. Your question, and Mr. Sackman, you answer first. What is your vision for the East Side to support the ongoing development?
So I've got a ton of concerns when it comes to East Side development, especially with 1.1 million tourists potentially coming to the city of Terre Haute to utilize the incoming casino. Part of it is infrastructure. Along Fruit Ridge, those streets are narrow, and that is a hazard for public safety departments. We do see oftentimes increases in crime with casinos moving to cities with a demographic similar to Terre Haute. A public safety satellite station for police and fire financed through money through that TIF district has got to be a must. This casino was voted on in 2019. Ask ourselves this: what have we done as a city to prepare for that increased traffic? What does the water pressure look like? What does the public safety situation look like?
Mr. Bennett, 90 seconds.
All those things are in process. I find it interesting that acts like nothing has happened. Some of these plans have been in place for 12 or 15 years. It's just having the funding to be able to bond out to do this. And so infrastructure has been put in. The water line that's going to come from 25th and Margaret out to just past the casino, right up to the casino, that will be the last connector piece. And in Inter-American Water is putting in a water line from Meyer on up through the airport area. We're going to increase that pressure tenfold in the next couple of years. So all of this stuff is in process, and to make it look like we're not doing that is another disingenuous statement. You don't just, TIF funds are very specific on what you can spend them on. You can build infrastructure, absolutely. We've spent a ton of money on infrastructure with more to come. We're working with the airport now. Everything on the east side of 46 is in a different airport TIF district. We're working with them on a new big project right now to build a road, and we're just going to continue to do that. And we're going to be, I mean, once again, you have to be able to have this long-term plan and you have to be able to fund it. You can't just say we're going to go build more stuff with no known source of the funds.
Mr. Sackman, 30-second rebuttal.
Look, I know budgets are complex. I've worked with them time and time again in the United States military through different contracts. All right, when it comes to this plan, we've already stated the community plan was put in effect in 2019. So we're 4 years in. So what is this long-term grand master plan? that we're discussing here. I mean, we've got to synchronize our efforts. We can't just start building before we have the infrastructure in place. These have got to be a synchronized effort, and we are not seeing that right now.
Mr. Bennett.
No, we are seeing that, and we've seen it, and there's more to come. And so, once again, you have to stay within your budget. You've got to be prudent about this. The revenues that come from these new entities that move in don't hit us for 2 years after they build their building. There's a year cooling period, and they pay taxes in the second year. You need that revenue to be able to invest back into those areas. And so we've seen that, we've done that, and we're going to continue to do that. I think it's working great.
This is another hot button question, so one final rebuttal. Mr. Sackman?
No, I think when you look back at the last 16 years, to say that there's all this revenue coming in and we've all of a sudden adjusted course is disingenuous, quite in fact. I mean, look at some of the tumbleweeds in front of our businesses in town currently. We've got to change what we're doing. That's just a fact in my opinion.
And Mr. Bennett?
Things are changing. I mean, we've had more progress in the last 15 years than we've had in the last 50, and that's anybody who's looking at this would say that is true.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. Very good conversation tonight. We are, however, nearing the end of our time here. We want to give each candidate 1 minute for a closing statement. Mr. Sackman gets the first closing statement.
Just pull some pictures and look at Terre Haute in the 1970s compared to what it is now. The population was much more robust. Downtown was an absolute hub. Now pull the pictures 16 years ago to now. My name's Brandon Sackman. I've got a background in budgeting, in crisis response, and in leadership. I'm confident that within the first year of my administration, what I can deliver to you, the people, is an updated overhaul of sidewalks, a fresh look at streets, a responsible bidding ordinance with an enforcement act into it to help our labor community, and most importantly, a strategic committee for the City of Terre Haute and Vigo County to leverage all of the talented personnel right here in the city of Terre Haute, Indiana. We have 34 days until Election Day. That gives you about a month of early voting to decide to move from a transactional manager to a transformational leader. Thank you.
Mr. Bennett, 1 minute closing statement.
Thank you again for having us. You know, we've worked really hard, and a lot of people have worked very hard, and I'm very proud of all the efforts in our community, and the results show that. You can go back and look in time. You talk about spending more money. We need to stay focused on doing what we need to do to make Terre Haute stand out, and we're doing that every single day. I'm very proud of our efforts. I'm proud of all of our employees that are all doing great things to deliver services to the citizens of this community. We got to step it up. We all do, because we're competing against the world. I've been thankful to be in this position. I love the job. I love solving problems and dealing with people every single day, and that's what it's all about. We're trying to make Terre Haute a better place. Now's not the time for change. Experience matters, and in order to move us forward, the momentum is going. We need to keep that momentum going, and I would ask for your vote on November 7th. Thank you so much.
Mr. Bennett, Mr. Sackman, we thank you both for your time. Thank you for joining us tonight for what I would believe is a very good conversation.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you at home for tuning in on this debate and for providing the questions for our candidates. As we end tonight, we want to remind you of important election information. You will see it on your screen. Next Tuesday, October 10th, is the last day to register to vote in Indiana. Early voting begins the very next day, and Election Day is Tuesday, November 7th. You see a list of where you can vote and when for early voting. There are locations open starting October 11th and another group starting October 31st. And many more options are available on Election Day. News 10 is, of course, your campaign headquarters that night with all of your election results. And you can find election resources on our website, of course, WTHI-TV.com. We'll see you back here with your local headlines at 10 on My Fox 10 and 11 on News 10 Night Watch. Have a great evening.